Hi everyone, this is Bruno from House of Falcone. We are here for Threads of Success today. Matt Salvesan is with us. Welcome.
Thank you.
This is the web podcast where we talk about the journey and how successful people are incredibly successful at what they do, and they excel in at what they do within their own world. So, Matt, I was really looking forward to have you because of us working together. Well, we worked on a couple of projects, couple of suits, and you were working. You basically now are elevating your personal brand because you kind of like catching up to the business, because the business has been in such a successful road.
Yeah.
But that's not where you started from.
No.
So tell me a little bit about what made it so you went from your literally starting point where everything was, like everyone else's fault, or like or the market or everything else around you, and then now to where you are today. What made that bridge?
I think when I started my business, I'd never intended to start a business. I quite liked making other people money, working hard and having my weekends off. I used to cook a lot of Italian and drink a lot of wine, and it was quite a comfortable lifestyle. But by certain circumstances, starting a business was one of the options I had. So before I even knew what the name of the business was going to be called, before I even understood what business was, because you've got to create money and income out of nowhere.
That's right.
It's insane to think about. I had a delusional reality. And when I say delusional reality, it's because when someone around you, especially if you're a 9-to-5er and you've got a friend that says, I'm going to be worth $100 million, you tend to look at them and go, that's a bit delusional, mate. That's a lot of money. And in his head, he's not saying next year. He's saying at some point in the future, that's my reality.
Yeah.
But we can't comprehend that. So my delusional reality was I was going to lead Southeast Queensland in the services industry before I even knew the name of the company. So it was quite delusional. But I think what got me from the start to now was definitely having goals. I had a 3-year plan, and I plan every year up until 3. And then once I hit that 3-year plan, I had a 2-year plan to get to the 5-year mark, and I've got a 15-year plan now. So having those goals and plans every year and something to strive to, I guess. And by writing it down consciously, subconsciously, you work towards it. I was hitting my goals without consciously thinking about it. I was like, oh, cool. End of the year, I was like, oh, I made it, right, without even really thinking about it. So I think what drives a lot of it is when I started to create income, not only for me, but for some other people. It was quite a responsibility.
Yes.
And I don't like to fail. So I never want to turn around to someone and say, hey, I haven't got work, or sorry, it didn't work out. And I don't really have another option either. So it was just about trying to develop, not myself at that point, but the business for the first couple of years, just figuring it out. And then as I grew through, realized where my business is destined to be, I couldn't be the person who manages it the way I was. You know what I mean? So
which is tough, right? Face it and kind of see your own limitations.
Yeah, and say if I keep going the way I am, I'll be the reason it fails. So I guess I got to about 2 years ago, and that was the realization when I looked in the mirror. I said, well, you're not deserving of where it's going to end up if you remain where you are. But business is hard, especially when you're building a brand from absolutely nothing.
That's right.
There's a lot of darkness there, a lot of doubt, a lot of people's opinions are too, so you've got to try to take people's opinions and think, do I just run with what I think and back myself, or, and I think for that, I always back myself. I listen to people's opinions, but in the end, if it fails, I've got myself to blame. Whereas if I take someone else's opinion and do what they say and it fails, I'll be pointing the blame. You know
That's
what I mean?
what I was about to ask you. So even setting up goals and in the scheme of things, it's big goals, right? Like it's a 3 years term. Did somebody like some sort of mentor or somebody that did it before, and was this some sort of guidance, or how did you come up with those goals?
I'm pretty stubborn. I did have someone try to mentor me, but he's not who I wanted to be. You know, like, yes, he's been successful in business, but as far as his personal health and his fitness and that, it's not where I want to be. So I feel people that I get coached by or I try to approach for coaching have to be the pinnacle of what I want to be. They have to be successful in every aspect, you know? So as far as the goals, no, I just set the goals for myself. I didn't read any books. Like I said, I had no idea about business, but I thought, well, let's start with a plan and see how we go with that. And as the years went on, you know, I recently took on a business coach, and now I'm talking to a lot more business owners and entrepreneurs, you know, about their journey, and not intentionally getting coached, but just by having conversations. And I find throughout this, like, we've been in business for 6 years now, and throughout that time, my coaching could come from one of my employees. Like, that's the crazy thing, is they'll say something and I'll take that and use it and create something out of that. You know, like, just one thing. I had one of my project managers say 2 years ago, when I started this journey, he had said that he had a conversation with his wife, and he was giving up on keeping up with me, because every time, every year, every month, I evolved more. And I really took that on, and I thought, well, every time you see me again, I'm going to evolve.
It's going to be different.
Yeah. And I really ran with that. And I thought that's quite interesting, because, you know, most people, I mean, I'm guilty for it. 18 years, I didn't change up until I turned 38. And I was like, all right, now I need to evolve, you know? Like,
what was the, you know, the moment? Because obviously 38 is a later age for most people. And what was the thing that made you want to change?
I say I'm trying to run away from 40, you know, and it's a month away. I think I'm doing all right. But I think as you get closer to 40, if you haven't kept yourself in check, it comes to be a reality that you're potentially halfway through your life. Do you know what I mean? And all the best years of your life, what have you done with that time? And the biggest reality check for me was, in 4 years, I hadn't really had any time. I think I had 1 week off or 5 days off. I was basically running on empty for 4 years in darkness at Burnout. And then at Christmas, the business was just shut down. Like, you know, Christmas time.
Can't do anything.
Can't do anything. And I was like, oh my God, this is where I get my energy back. I really need to relax. And lo and behold, I spent it drinking and hungover and partying with family, and Christmas time, Boxing Day, all those celebrations. And every night I was drinking, every morning I was under the weather. And it got to New Year's Eve, I woke up, and it was 3 days before we went back to work. And I was like, I've gained no energy. And I was so tired. And I just looked in the mirror and said a bunch of stuff I won't say here, but said enough's enough, and promised I wouldn't look in the mirror again and say that, you know, or believe that. So this last 2 years about changing that mindset. So yeah, it was the fact that I was just tired and I didn't regain my energy.
Yeah.
And honestly, I have a friend that's basically, he's like a brother to me. We've known each other since grade 1. We went down different paths. And if you look at my life to his, you would think I got my stuff together quite well. You know, he went down a very different path to me. And at the end of 2023, we got back in touch, and he started posting pictures of himself at the gym, getting motivated. And I thought, I've got my life together and he never had, yet he has the initiative and motivation to get in the gym and I can't. And that was like, real eye-opener for me. I was like, okay, I'm just using excuses. And then it was like, became like this brotherly rivalry without him even hitting me.
Without knowing.
Yeah, I was just like, he can't be better than me. I've got my life together. I've got a good business and I've got a good family. But in reality, I wasn't operating at my highest capacity, and that's what I needed. So recently I took him out to dinner with his partner and my wife and had a really nice steak dinner. And that's where I said, man, like, you changed my life and you didn't know it. You didn't know you're doing it. And the one of the things he said, well, I said, look, I was like, mate, you can't be better than me at this. And, you know, because we've known each other for a long time, obviously it's taken nicely. And he said, the funny thing is now, brother, that I'm chasing you. And I'm trying to get to where you are now. Yeah. And that was quite cool, you know, and that rivalry to keep us both at the same level, you know? Yeah. So I think seeing someone that I thought had a worse life than me, getting their life in shape, and then being tired and not regaining my energy because my life wasn't in shape, that was like, enough's enough. Yeah,
that was a moment.
Yeah, that was the moment, 100%. So as of that New Year's Day, I became a psycho and an absolute animal. Yeah.
I think the reason why I wanted you to like talk about it is because, you are achieving things that for most entrepreneurs are very, very difficult. And there's always that uncertainty. There's always that I'm tired of the energy. And there's always a lot of excuses. Yes. That's how I would say, right? There's a lot of excuses. And then what I wanted to come across here is kind of like show, I guess, how are you not making the excuses, right? If you can think about it for a second and be like, you know, what is it? What are the steps in your mind that makes it so you don't make excuses?
Non-negotiables. That was a big one. That was a word I learned in 2024 about having non-negotiables, having a power list every day, having set things you do maybe every day or every week that you've got to do it, and actually being hard on yourself for letting yourself down. Because, I mean, if you've got a friend and that friend keeps promising you stuff and not delivering, at what point do you stop being friends and go, look, I don't want you around anymore? You know, it's no different to yourself. You keep promising yourself you're going to do something, you don't. And then at some point you just give up on yourself, you know? And for me, it was, the non-negotiables. Okay, this is
happening no matter what.
This is the standard. Yeah, I've got
That's
too much.
Standard.
I got too much responsibility. I've got kids to look after. I've got a wife, you know. And then as I started changing,
and the people that are working in your business.
And the people, all the people, that the income I provide for them. And look, I'm a chapter in their lives. They're going to go at some point. But whilst I'm this chapter in their life, I want to make sure that I feel worthy, or I'm worthy of them being in here. You know, when they're with our company, when they're around me, they feel good, and then they can move on, do whatever they want. I don't expect them to be working with me for 50 years, but understanding your responsibilities. And honestly, the biggest like accountability is when I changed, my wife changed. So, you know, like we were both out of shape. And here I am in my head going, oh, she's out of shape. But when I got into shape, she got into shape. So I was like, oh, that's confronting. And then she was drinking too much. You know, we're drinking wine every night and that. And I was like, she drinks too much. And then I stopped drinking and she stopped drinking. I was like, oh, that's confronting. You know, and a big one for me, and this is like 100 days into that year, for 6 years, my son was 6 years old, 6 years I was whinging and complaining internally that my wife didn't find me attractive. You know, and that sucked. And it was quite hard mentally, to the point that I was like, why am I even in this relationship? I'm doing everything possible, but I really wasn't. And 100 days into the year, I was getting into shape. So I wasn't in my best shape. And I got out of the pool and she looked at me a certain way. And I was like, oh, what's that? What are you doing? She's like, you look really good. And when she said that, that actually hurt so much, you know, because I was like, 6 years. Yeah. 6 years I was being a little...
Could have avoided it.
Yeah. 100 days I changed it.
Yeah.
6 years I whinged about it. 100 days I changed it. So understanding that, you know, it's, especially my family, they're all a reflection of me. If I'm not at my highest capacity, they're never going to be. That's not taking anything away from my son or my wife, but it is it's obvious that as I change for the better, they all change for the better.
They came.
Look, I'll go home and have, if I go home and have six beers, my wife's having 6 beers, and I'm like, can you just let me be pathetic for one night and not follow me because now I feel guilty that I'm having a beer? But yeah, that was it. Finding out that that I am their responsibility, you know, and I am the company's responsibility, and taking that on like a badge of honor and going, okay, well, I'm gonna become better, not to be better than anyone, but to be better for everyone around me.
That's right.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think that's very. It's a beautiful sentiment, you know, and I wanted to point it out because with all of the excuses out there, there's always like, well, you know, I don't have time, or and that is for the
tired.
That's for the personal lives, and then for the business side is the other one, right? Like it's like, well, but I'm too tired. I want to rest on the weekend, or I don't want to, you know. And off camera, literally, a couple of the conversation, it was literally, what did you do during the holidays, and you know, like we've done probably things that like 1% of entrepreneurs do, like, and it's and there's a lot of seeing the highlights, you know, the people that see what we achieve, what we do, and there's not a lot of showing, well, on Boxing Day, while the kids were in the pool, I was on my computer working on the website, or look, you know what I mean? Like
before Christmas, a couple of days before Christmas Eve, I actually slept in my Gold Coast office, and I just sleep on, there's like a little couch there. And I the reason I did that, and I have done that consistently, is because I need to get stuff done. So if I can stay at the office from 6 till 2 in the morning awake, then on top of the 12 hours I've done already, I've just gained another 6 hours of work. And really at that point, that's that 6 till 2, well, that's 8 hours. At that point, that 8 hours is like 16 hours of work, because I'm staying awake, I'm away from my family, I've got to get dialed in. So I just become an absolute maniac on the computer. But what that did was, it allows me to, you know, I go to bed at 2 on the couch, wake up at 5, jump back on my computer. It's like time efficiency.
That's right.
You know, it's not ideal. I wouldn't do it every night. But when it has to happen, I feel it compounding sometimes, like it did for Christmas. I was like, if I don't get this done right now, I'm going to be anxious up until Christmas. So, right. You know, we went to Caloundra for a couple of nights. And before Caloundra, I'd done a lot of work in the back end. And then when I went to Caloundra, there was nothing immediate I had to do. And it's probably the first time in 6 years that I had a couple of days off. And I was like, it can wait. You know, but it can wait because that 7 days leading up, I was working when no one else was.
That's right.
You know, so.
We just talked in like broad strokes, like in terms of what made you change, all of the passion that you're putting into your business, which is massive. So tell me about actually, how did the business come about? Like, you know, the idea of solving that problem, and did it evolve when you started to today? Yeah,
so before, like I guess it was like a couple of years in the making, I was kind of creating a person, a leader in myself, running these big projects. And what I was noticing was there was always a disconnect between the principal contractor and the committee or the building manager. You know, I'd run these large projects, and I was contracting to the principal contractor through another company, and they'll get awarded an $800,000 project, yet the building manager doesn't like them, or the chairperson or the committee members don't like them. And I'm like, how the hell did they win $800,000 project and no one thinks they're professionals? Or you know, so I saw that. I was like, well, my objective is anyone that meets me while I'm running these projects is gonna admire me to a point. My work ethic, how I present myself to them, the workmanship we do. And so that was 2 years leading up, and that led to the name of the company, Fidato Services, because what I was noticing was a lack of trust and reliability in the industry. So I mean, Fidato stands for trust and reliable in Italian, and I was trying to name my company that without sounding corny. And at that point, I was semi-fluent in Italian. I was cooking a lot, and the heritage is, North Croatia, North Italy. So it sort of pieced all together. And then everyone had their opinion on how much that name sucked, and no one's going to be able to spell it. No one's going to be able to pronounce it. And I was like, well, if an Aussie can't pronounce it, they say Fidato. I'm like, well, you're uncultured. Okay. I'll teach you how to spell it, But I've had clients turn around and go, man, you guys are just so reliable and just easy to trust. And I was like,
wow,
that is fantastic. So that's how it started with the name. And that's what we tried to push, was just by building that relationship with our clients where they could rely on us and they could trust us, and also holding ourselves accountable. If we did something wrong, and stuff always goes wrong, it's about being reactive. Like we had a job recently where we were cleaning these buildings, and there were marks on a wall on a courtyard, just random. They shouldn't have come from us. I don't know how they're there. But instead of complaining or trying to argue it, we just got guys in over the Christmas period and fixed it because that client's too important for a $400 or whatever it may have cost to get someone there.
That's right.
Like, it's so irrelevant, So yeah, we just built that up over the years, and we've grown every year. And as I've grown, I've created more divisions, and now we've got the Gold Coast branch as well. And I think the biggest success, as well as having those goals, is taking action immediately. And what we mean by that is it's not just, oh, I'm going to spend $100,000 and do this, and then you lose it. No, it looks like you're taking action immediately because for the last 6 months you've planned and thought about it and you've analyzed it. I think that's with like entrepreneurs and business owners is, yes, they take action immediately, and that's why they become successful. But that action immediately is what, like, premeditated thought. You know what I mean? So my biggest superpower, and typically with entrepreneurs, is that foresight. Is that you're not just looking at
what's going to happen in a year's time.
Yeah, and like I've got a plan, like where I'm going to be in 12 years' time, and then after that, I'm going to go, well, this is going to happen as well. And if it doesn't, I'm looking at all the wrong things that could happen and putting things in place to make sure if it does go wrong, we're safe.
As much as you could, right?
As much as you can, yeah. So having that foresight and, I again, just living by those 3 core values of trust, reliability, and accountability, and trying to produce that. And we keep evolving, and you make mistakes. And, I actually went door knocking 2 weeks ago, which I haven't done for a very long time. And out of all the ones I door knocked, only one I remembered is because I walked in there and basically collapsed, just, I don't know what it was. Like, there's nothing wrong with the person behind the counter. I just went in there. I went real quiet.
Yeah.
I couldn't sell my business. And I walked down. I was like,
what is going on?
Oh, we won't do that again. That was horrible. I was like, and the 6 before that, I dominated it. And then just, don't know, maybe it was her energy or, I don't know.
And now, I mean, like you started 6 years ago, where it was just a little bit of an idea, and now today you are where you are. And how does it feel to have the Fidato name inside your suit? Because
oh, I love it.
Is it special? Like, is it something that talks to who you were then and who you are today?
Fidato has taken so much of my life. You know what I mean? Like, building it at 6 years, I've lost stuff I won't get back with family and that. So it's pretty dear to me, and I have no interest right now or even in the near future of exiting it just because I want to see the name do well. You know, that is my whole intention. So, even with I've got Sicilian clients and that call me Mr. Fidato because everyone thinks it's my last name. So on my office door in Brisbane, it's Mr. Fidato, CEO. I love it. And so to have it on the jacket, like I've even toyed with the idea I'll just get it tattooed somewhere on me because it's for life. And it's because what it represents, right? Like, it represents that trust, that reliability. It represents me going with my gut and being successful because of it. It represents all the doubts everyone had in their mind about it. You know what I mean? And it's becoming a success. So there's a lot with the name itself and how many times we actually changed. Like, it's Fidato Services, and it was always supposed to be that, but I got told to change it constantly to Fidato Painting and Maintenance, Fidato Heights. So I always got told to just keep changing it because they're not going to know what Fidato means. They're not going to know what Fidato Services mean. And I just thought, don't care.
But I think also, and this is like my looking at from the outside, I feel that those promises of trust, those promises of reliability in the name of Fidato that's inside the jacket is almost towards yourself. It's a promise to yourself. Yeah. And that you maintained it, and now you are here 6 years later.
Yeah.
And you're a different person.
100% different person. And that's
so it's almost like a showing off, like a different person, different image.
Yeah, I mean, you look at all our vehicles, they cost a lot to wrap. And we must have, I think it'll be 18 vehicles on the road or something.
Yeah.
And each wrap costs like $3,500, $4,000.
Yeah.
So it's not a good business model. Yeah.
Not
it's
a good
expensive.
business.
However, it turns heads and people look at it and they're impressed by it. And that's what I like. You know, that draws them in with the way we brand our business. And then, with that name sitting front and center of it, I drive my car everywhere. And when I see my guys pass, I love seeing my vehicles go past. It's, I'll get Fidato on everything.
So your name, so the name of course, it's about trust, it's about reliability. Why do you think there's a lack of trust in the industry?
Oh, you got an industry full of salesmen that are just trying to win jobs. I mean, that's the core difference between me and the majority of my competitors is I own the business. I'm the founder of the business. And the clients usually directly with me. Do you know what I mean? I might have my estimators there, but they typically are talking to me and I'm looking at the pricing as well. It's not salesmen just going out to win a job or sell a job. Mm-hmm. And what typically happens in our industry is in order for someone to win a project, they might cut the hours out of it. Okay, so that's great for the salesman because he hits his KPIs still for winning a project, but the job's going to lose money. So when the project manager gets the job, he already has limited hours on it. And he gets KPIs based on how well the project goes. But the project never goes well because it was destined to fail from the start because this guy up here sold it. So there's no communication, there's no team environment to want to win, and deliver a project together. And all that does is now, in order to keep those hours under or to have that profitability there, it's typically sold to a contractor. So now they're going to sell the project 30% less to a subcontractor. Typically the hours aren't there for the subcontractor either, and the subcontractor doesn't want to lose money. So what does he do? There's shortcuts.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. So, it's hard to explain that to clients without feeling like you're bashing the industry, but we take pride in not subcontracting any of our painters or our rope access guys.
Yeah.
They are all in-house and will remain in-house for as long as possible. And even if they're not in-house, they will just be assisting our team on our projects.
I feel like it's very difficult to explain it because it's something that isn't realized.
No.
Right? Like it's something that it hasn't been made. So I as you're speaking about it, I'm thinking even back to, my own industry, and it's very different and difficult to explain why a suit would cost $1,000 or $100 versus the one that costs $3,000 or $5,000, right?
Yeah.
And I think as you're speaking about it, I was like, well, it kind of makes sense that, that more affordable, quote unquote, level.
Yeah.
It is done, of course, for the masses, but then at the same time is made with very little care on how it's made.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's
how they put it together.
Exactly.
And like you're talking about contractors, and in my industry is the same. Like all that is, it's somebody hiring a contractor in the Asian country, make a suit fast, cheap, because obviously they need to look at the margins, and then they're able to offer the, entry level, kind of affordable level suit, but then that suit would not last, so would just like require, and in your industry will be maintenance, it will be like other costs involved
we see it a lot because
later on.
You know, when you repaint, like our core focus is commercial repaints, and when you repaint a building, you expect to get 10 years life out of it. And we see a lot.
You would.
It's not really happening because, you know, there's shortcuts taken, whether it's one coat, you know.
Or they don't think of the weather type.
Or they don't wash them properly or anything like that. It's not so much the products because
isn't it interesting?
All the products are sort of similar, but it's that longevity of it. And like you just said, you know, they're just trying to make quick profit.
Yeah.
Whereas like, I was just talking to you off camera that this January has been the best start to a year I've had. For some reason, every January, my world falls apart. I'm in business. I think it's just like the universe or God just going, we're just going to see if you're worthy this year.
Let's see.
Let's
see how you do it.
Yeah. So this year it was really good. And I was like trying to move slowly and holding my breath. And then, like I said, two days before, lost the project I thought was coming our way. And the difference between me and my competitors is when they lose the job, they lose KPIs, they lose bonuses, they lose profitability.
Yeah.
When I lose a job, I lose hours for my team. That's a big thing. You know, like obviously you want your business to profit, but it hits me harder because let's say I've got a 5,000 hour job that I was expecting to win. I just lost 5,000 hours.
That's right.
I'm not contracting any of my stuff out. You know, that was that comfortability to go, yes, I can keep my team going. And then losing it, I go, now I'm going to come up with 5,000 hours again. You know, the profit's always going to be there.
Yeah.
But it's those hours that hit home for me and go, oh man, like as we keep growing, it's more responsibility to keep stuff coming in order to keep all these people working. So, you know, one of my goals this year is to scale past 50 employees. And why? Well, imagine the business is going to be with 50 plus employees. Imagine the person that's operating, the CEO of that business. I want to be that person. You know what I mean? But also what I've created by having 2 employees through to 35 and more is quite impressive to me, you know, with all that responsibility. So I'm like, imagine what I'm going to achieve when I've got 50 plus people, you know, with that extra, the extra lives I'm going to look after, essentially. So that's one of the core focuses on that goal this year is get to 50 plus, because just what's going to be achievable in my mindset once I have all that responsibility on myself.
I think that what makes you different as a business owner, like it is, and what's driving you, and as you're talking, it sounds like you're driven by, you know, your own values of responsibility and really like being responsible towards your team, your people, and kind of like creating that, like that cycle, creating that, like that wealth, really, like even because it's in lots of things, not just economical. You're very generous, like in the way you think, you share with your team. I think that's one of the things that being you a leader of your company, it makes it so different on that sense as well, because it's so important to you. You can really tell. And the one thing I want to point out, again, this is like a podcast where I speak to a lot of successful entrepreneurs. The one thing that, you know, if you take even a further step back, it's almost about, you're describing a mission, like you're describing like a way of being, a way of life within your professional life. And that's what fuels like a lot of the most difficult moments and a lot of all of the hardship, because you're so strong on that. And on my end, for example, I know that, you know, whenever people ask me about the mission, it is very little about suits, and it's all about how you feel into the world. Are you feeling heard? Are you feeling seen? Right? Like it's so little about the actual product, right? It might have started with the product. Yeah. Like I was worrying about, and probably is a good thing that was so product focused whenever you start a business. But then when I even working specifically with you, it was about how do you want your personal brand to be perceived? How do you want to be perceived in the world? How do you want to be heard? Like what kind of message you want to be, what do you want to attract? What kind of person you want to attract? So then it's very little about the actual, you know, do you want to wear a wool suit, a linen suit? It's about, or what color do you want?
Yeah.
It's about, are you represented
Well,
in the way that you want to be perceived? Do you
Yeah.
feel now, are you representing yourself? I mean, you already wore one of the suits out.
yeah. I mean, yeah, like I said, I was one of the best dressed there for sure. And, you know, I had two options. I wore one of the shirts he gave me, and then I wore my my long sleeve skivvy, I think, underneath it,
Yeah.
which really worked well. A bit hot with that because it's cotton, and
Yeah.
but it was really nice. And I think it's
What
the way.
was the reaction like? Did you notice any differences in the way that you were carrying yourself, or?
100%, like your posture, you know,
Yeah.
and like for me, posture's been a big thing. Like I could try to walk around with swagger, like a boy, and like we used to do when I was you know, we're younger. And from an early age, in my early 20s, I thought I'm going to start walking with posture because,
Okay.
you know, I like that better. For some
Okay.
reason, it just seems better just walk straight rather than, you know, doubting yourself every time. But yeah, once I put that on, as soon as you look in the mirror and you walk out the door, you're a professional.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing is you're not a lad. You know, in my opinion, you're a gentleman. And as soon as I put that suit on, I'm a gentleman. I'm going to act like a gentleman to everyone. The way I sit, the way I come across to everyone,
Yeah.
it's going to be with a gentleman nature. You know what I mean? So even with the way I communicate, and I can go off on a tangent, and I've got heaps of energy. So I try to rein that in a bit, especially when I'm wearing a suit, because I want to portray a certain person, you know what I mean? Like I want to walk into a room and people be interested that I'm in there.
Yeah.
And have a bit of admiration for what I do and how I interact with people. So, I mean, even with this suit, like I said, it's completely opposite of the other one as far as brightness and darkness, but it has the exact same impact.
Yeah.
I put it on, I looked in the mirror and I was like, wow, yeah, you're a boss. Yeah.
I think, and I mean, like, it's you were already that person. And that's what sometimes, whenever people ask me about it, it's not about faking it until you make it. It's really not at all about that. You already were a gentleman, like you were already that person, and we just like channeling it for more people to see. So, and in your specific case, it's about also becoming that business owner that has 50 staff.
Yeah.
And the person that has 10 staff needs to change and evolve to be that person that has 50 people staff, then 100 staff and 1,000. So it's more of that idea, and that person that has 1,000 staff would have to speak in rooms with other people and they need to relate with those people in different ways. So we just have made the first jump in evolution, right?
Well, yeah, I did a wellness and a summit this week down the Gold Coast, and had 2 days of wellness retreat with business owners and that. And they had this identity coach, I think she was. And one of the things she said that stuck is your identity's worked to get you to where you are now.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to change your identity to get to the next step. You know, there's nothing wrong with your identity. It's done great to get you where you are, but it needs to change for you to get to level up again. And at the end of last year, I finished the year the absolute best version I've ever been of myself, you know, mentally, physically, family, business, finance, like everything in someone else's eyes, other than not having a Lamborghini, is perfect. Yeah. But there was
It's okay, you got a Lamborghini of a suit.
Exactly. Yeah.
You get the suit version of a Lamborghini.
Yeah. Now I just got to find the Lamborghini. There were still things I could tweak, little things, not big things, just little selfish things I was still doing that stopped me from becoming a man still, you know. And although I still carried myself in a certain way, there were still mannerisms and internal things that kept me from becoming what I believe a true man is. And my destination for the end of the year, the goals of where the business is going to be is a reality. And I thought, well, at that point, when you have 50 plus employees, when you're generating this much revenue and all this stuff, who is the CEO? What does he look like? Does he read? Is he articulate? Does he swear a lot? Does he drink a lot? Is he fit? Is he in shape? Does he respect his wife? Does he have a good connection with his son? You know what I mean? Do people admire him? You know, how do his upper management look at him? You know, even down to the casual staff, are they somewhat excited when they see him? How does he present himself? So I started thinking about, okay, well, who was the person that runs that business at that point? And start of the year, I was like, all right, well, let's start becoming that person, you know, and start changing, because that's the reality. And God forbid I get there like I was, and I was in a good position last year, but you know, you can't be the same person. Your identity's got to change in order to expand. And so that's the journey I'm on now. Is okay, well, how can I be better and become that person? Look, I do curse a lot. It's my program.
You haven't done it, right?
I know, I'm really struggling. And when I get passionate, yeah, it's like a twitch. I do curse a lot. I try not to. And when I'm around people, you know, reining that in a bit. But when you're around mates and, you know, I'm a bit too energetic, it just comes off the tongue. And, you know, I'm Australian and Croatian. So there's anger and, yeah, everything inside. And 2 weeks ago, I thought, this week, I'm going to focus on not cursing. And all that did was make me focus on how much I cursed. And that was quite confronting. So wow. I just started counting it up. I was like, oh, it came out again. So it just happens. And I want to say it's that program, over 38 years of programming that I had to change. I had to reprogram myself, and it's quite difficult. You know, it's not an easy road to stop being who you were because you were programmed to be that way from your circumstances, yeah? The way you grew up, where you grew up, whatever happened to you in the past has created a certain identity in you that's not going to be, an 18-year-old me isn't a successful 40-year-old business owner.
Isn't it, like, as you're talking about it, I'm like, I was thinking about it, and I actually, in English, I very rarely curse. Very rarely. Like, you could, but not once a year.
Yeah.
In Italian, that's a different story.
Oh, it's beautiful though.
But because you just talked about the, like, where you grew up and, you know, like how the circumstances.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a lack and not. Like, when I came to Australia, I was 25. So then there's a defining moment where it's, do I leave everything behind? That they'll become a different person? And it wasn't overnight. But it's funny how, for me, it's kind of like, it's literally a door, like an entry door when I'm around Italians, and it's like, and it feels familiar. It feels, it feels like, you know, like you're
like normal,
yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
But then I am, like, my identity as a man living in Australia, as an Italian man living in Australia, is very defined.
Yeah.
And I don't curse.
Yeah, well,
it's one of those things.
Yeah, I'm trying not to. That's the whole point of trying to be more articulate. And I need more words in my back.
Let me tell you how much I hate you in a different way.
Yeah, that's right. How can I be kind about it? You know, like, I used to be quite an angry person. Like, obviously, my family, I believe.
I couldn't tell.
Yeah, and look, I've got a story, and I'm not proud of it. I don't remember it. So I don't believe it happened. But my project manager tells everyone the story about how when about a year into him being in my business, I've been with for about 5 years, and this guy has my heart. Like, he's got the strongest work ethic I've ever seen. He's old school, carpenter, did his apprenticeship, was having nails shot at him, being bullied at, like, old school apprentice.
Yeah,
so they got the crap beaten out of him, and then they developed good work ethics. These days, if you look at someone weird, they file a complaint.
Right.
So he was the only one that would, like, at that point, I was working really hard. I was struggling with the business. And I need to be on the tools a lot as well. And when I wanted someone to work overtime on weekends, he just please, here's, no worries, I'll do that. And then because he's a carpenter, he came into the business with, like, a trailer full of tools. Whereas most guys don't come in with a scraper. Don't have anything. He's like, okay, man, I need a second drill. He's like, I've got one. Oh, I need a grind. He's like, I've got one. I was like, oh my God, you make my life so much easier.
Yeah.
You know, so it actually, like, you know, he definitely has my heart, that guy. And he tells a story where, and that's why I was getting to that, like, his work ethic, I admire so much. He's saved me so much. I'm so glad he's in my business. However, I asked if someone could work a public holiday, and he's like, yeah, well, he goes, are we getting paid double time for that? And I lost my
You lost.
lost my cool. I was like, you. I'd say I did sound like you entitled.
And then
Well, he worked, yeah. And I was like, yeah, obviously I paid him double, and I was gonna. I don't know, but I don't even remember the story. But and he's like, I'm still here, aren't I? And he tells people that story, and everyone in the business that definitely has only been with us for 2 years is like, nah, that's not that.
No way.
No way.
That's not him.
Yeah. And it's because I've had to reprogram myself, you know?
You change it.
That acting out on emotion. And, you know, business is hard. When something goes wrong and you got everything on the line for it, it's hard not to get very frustrated.
You know what? I'll tell you, like, because this is literally as in evolving. Even myself, I must say, even within my own fashion, my own style, like, it keeps on evolving. Like, the suit wearer that was 10 years ago, I'm not anymore. I'm in a very different way. But then at the same time, I still keep it parts of me in there. So I think you're never gonna get over being, you know, that like emotional or angry. Yeah. I'm never gonna get over being, you know, expressive, like to show to the world what kind of man I am through my image. But I think it's good to embrace the person that you are, but still work on it. So I think the way that, you know, working on being a better person and being 1% better every day, that's plenty, right?
Yeah, 100%. I think, you know, aim to operate at your highest capacity, whatever that looks like. You know, you don't have to do what I do. I do a lot. You know.
You can't. Even if you wanted to.
I think I actually had someone ask me that with all the exercise and the hours in the business, he'd said, were you just born like with that? And I did say, yeah, I've always kind of been like this. And then I thought, oh, he's only asking that because he wants me to say, yes, I was born with this. So then he can say, that's why I can't do it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't born with it. Yeah, I've got high energy like most boys do. But no, I just don't like to lose, and I don't like to let myself down. And that has escalated the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So I say to my employees, I don't backflip out of bed at 3:30 in the morning. It sucks. Sucks for everyone. Yeah. You know what I mean? I have 5 hours sleep. I get up at 3:30. There's a constant battle in my head where I'm doing these mathematical equations as to how much more time I could snooze. I probably could snooze another.
Can I stay for another 5 minutes?
So 6.5. Best I walk in here. I'll have a coffee quick, look at that. And then
I can still make it.
And then I go, gym. Just get up, man. Just get up. And as soon as my feet are on the ground, that's my first win. You know, and then every day is just about banking wins, you know?
I like that. What?
Yeah.
That's great.
And that's the thing. It's like as soon as my feet are on the ground, I'm like, let's get it.
It's a win.
Yeah. It sucks, but I'm
first
up.
Win.
Yeah, first win. And then I have a coffee. I hit the gym in the morning. I always do that. And then that's my second win. I committed to that. And then I'm in the business for, say, 12 hours a day. I get home. I tend to exercise again in some capacity, whether it's walking with my wife or training on my bike in the lounge room. And then I get my lunches ready. I get my clothes ready for the next day, because that's a big thing. If I don't get my clothes ready for the next day, and then at 3:30 in the morning, I'm scrounging to get my clothes ready, I've already started on a loss. I'm not happy with myself. I'm like, I could have taken 5 minutes last night. And instead, I chose to go to bed, you know, and I could have just had that time. So, and still it happens to this day that it's like, I'm very well disciplined, yet I'm still very much not disciplined.
Also, for win.
Yeah, exactly. Now I just do not drink red wine and this. And that's the biggest thing that scares me, because with my energy, I try not to have like really nice things, because like I bought a really nice watch once and within a week I'd scratched the face.
Everything, yeah.
Oh, I was like, man. And that's the same with these suits. It's like, probably just hang them up and never wear them. You know, I'll be at risk of sitting down on something.
I think, and that's it's funny that you mentioned it. I would look at these suits like your just a regular wardrobe. Like honestly, the some of the struggles sometimes with some of the men, you know, like us, like a millennial, so we grew up with this thing, the good clothes to go out, the bad clothes to keep in the house. But the truth is that I'm living my life as in, it's always the good clothes. Like whether I'm at the gym, whether I'm at, it to me is a show to everyone around me that I respect what I do, I respect myself. And I mean, like my mentor says, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Yeah.
So it's a reflection of, well, if I can respect myself while I'm at the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning, then when I'm handling your business, I'll be able to, I'll do the same.
Yeah, I
right?
think that's great. And like what I've never understood is there's obviously very successful people out there, and some of them like to make a point of dressing casual.
Yeah, of
They'll
course.
have like a ripped shirt or something.
For sure.
But I'm like, I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to say that, you know,
you don't need it.
I'm just a normal guy. I don't need it. But you just stepped out of $1 million Ferrari. So it's like, I don't think it works like that.
I got my controversial take on that specifically. Yeah. I think look, before, you know, when I started as a local business, I didn't really know what to think of that. Like I didn't know what to think of the, you know, the quote unquote extremely successful entrepreneur wearing the t-shirt, the sneakers, and coming out of the Ferrari or the Lamborghini. For now, you know, I feel very fortunate. Like I am part of certain rooms in the world, and this is a worldwide thing. Like where, you know, I meet the people, I meet the billionaires and millionaires. It's not just like as I'm saying it for social media.
Yeah.
I go into these rooms and I see how they think, and they would never do business with that person. So with the person of the sneakers and the t-shirt, right? And the person of the t-shirt and the sneakers, they think in the mind that they arrived. They made it.
Yeah.
Right? And I feel they don't have an idea of what's in those rooms where the real millionaires are there, like the real billionaires. And I think it's almost like this a small mindset where it's like, well, I'm the biggest fish in a small tank.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking bigger and say, what are the sharks, what are the whales in the ocean thinking?
Yeah.
Would they do business with me or not? And the harsh truth, and we got lots of these like big egos, like, you know, a Gold Coast, Brisbane, and it's like, well, it's a Gold Coast, it's Brisbane, calm down.
Yeah.
Like it's not, you know, you're not talking of a worldwide stage.
Yeah,
and I think that's my take, but it's very controversial. Like, cause I put some thought behind, and I see real life. I see the extremely successful, the wealthy, and I'm still probably like stage one of those rooms that there will be like, you know, stage 100 they around the world.
You know, I was around 400 other business owners and entrepreneurs over the last couple of days, and definitely not successful like the majority of them are, yet I still dressed a certain way. Because that's my image. You know what I mean? I could have come in gym shorts, and just a t-shirt, but
because it's your industry, right? Like your industry, nobody would expect it.
Yeah, they would.
But you're acting as a CEO, which is different.
That 100%. And if I mean, sometimes I rock up my office.
You're not the tradie, you're the CEO.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I'm not a tradie. Sometimes I rock up my office in my workout gear.
Of course,
which I don't feel good about.
Why not?
I do get changed in my office, but the guys do see me. But I'm like, well, yeah, I've just, you know, obviously been at the gym, but in that point, at that point, when I'm surrounded by all these people that are wealthier than me and more successful, and they might be less dressed than me, but it doesn't. Like, I'm not going to lower my standard just because you feel like this is how I feel comfortable.
That's
you know,
right.
and this, like you say, you know, we grew up wearing nice things was to go out. I don't want to do that. Like, I want to be able to wear a suit.
Go for it. Go to the beach with this.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I said to my guys, I'll just
put on a pole. But you know, imagine sometimes you see some of these guys like on, you know, on the movies, TV shows, and it's like, oh, you know, he's wearing like a linen trouser and a polo. It looks so good.
Yeah.
Wear it. Like, have fun. Go to you. But you know what I mean? That's how I usually would advise it, especially I put an age to it. Like if you're over 30, over 35, you gotta stop thinking like a 20-year-old because now you can afford to look the way you want.
Yeah.
It's not dictated by, am my parents going to buy me this thing or not? Like it's yourself. So it's just as in your suits, as in your, I mean, like your wardrobe, as in everything else, your food. Like you can decide to get organic and eat better, or you can go to McDonald's, Hungry Jack's. But you know what I mean? It's the same story. That's why how you do one thing, how you do everything, because you excel in your fitness, you excel in your business. Now you worked on your branding. So it just reflects on everything that you do.
I'd say a big one for me is who I tend to look up to, you know, like successful CEOs of companies within Brisbane and Gold Coast. There'll be different types of people, but it's the ones that are like charismatic, that are gentlemen. That's how I go, oh, that's what it means to be successful. So this guy is just as successful, but I'm not interested in that image. Do you know what I mean? So like my business coach at the moment, I think he's in his 60s or something. But what's always got me is he's always been humble. He's always walked with posture. He's always been charismatic.
And did you notice that the extremely successful, they're always the nicest people. Like they're genuine.
Yeah.
Because there's a skew vision of success, right? That you need to be
ruthless.
That's right. And they are.
Yeah.
They are in business, but sometimes it's about how you are in business and the way that you do business. It doesn't need to be like who you are as a person. No. And I'm telling you, they're just like the best people. And sometimes I was very taken back because this was an event, like it was there in America, the one that I was telling you about. And there was this gentleman from Sydney, I won't name him, but he was extremely respectful, very elegant, very charming as well, like in the room. But at the same time, it was quiet. Like it was like quiet luxury, like scanning the room and so on.
Yeah.
And then it turns out, you know, like extremely wealthy. But when I say extremely, and the best, like one of the best conversation I had, it was with him.
Yeah.
And, you know, like, and all of that came about also to show, you know, that the good energy attracts the same kind of energy. I had a conversation before knowing all of his background. Yeah. It's about being a gentleman. Yeah. There's two gentlemen in the room. We're having a conversation. We're enjoying time together, and we intentionally spend time with each other.
Yeah.
And then that it turns out to be that you are extremely successful is a afterthought.
Yeah. Which you are both kind of mirroring each other at that point. Despite the difference in wealth and success.
Yeah.
Which is quite cool. And that's the thing.
I love that.
You know, act who you like. Yeah, act like who you want to be, you know? And again, what I aspire to be for my business and for my wife and my son, I'm going to start acting, you know, I'm going to start acting that way now. And I again, with the change, that's why the change came about, because it's like, well, I'm not who I believe I need to be for everyone. And
man, that's amazing. Like you're an incredible like role model. I love the way you think about your family. I love the way you think about your business, your people that work for you, the way that you work within your fitness regimen. I think I wanted more people to know you, to get to know the truth behind like all of these this massive growth of Fidato, and I wanted to show, you know, all of your values, because, you know, like spending time together, making the suits together, I got to meet you and know the person before the business, and I really wanted to show everyone how amazing you are.
Yeah, I find myself apologizing because it can be exhausting, you know, especially when people get talking about the last 2 years, or I get talking about the last 2 years of my life, because it's been such a massive, drastic change. And it's just bettered everything, which is so crazy. And it's, you know, I say that it's tiring. We're all tired. We go to bed tired. We wake up tired. Everyone's dealing with something. I just choose to do it with a 6-pack.
That's it.
You know, that's the only difference.
I love it.
And people
man.
go, "Are you tired?" I'm like, "Yeah." And you know, look, you have wellness people and that you know they're trying to sell not to be tired, and I can make you not tired, but I willingly make myself tired. Like I don't have to do what I'm doing, and I would be less tired. You know what I mean? So they're like, "Are you tired? Are you worn out?" I was like, "Yeah, intentionally."
It's a good thing.
Yeah, I love it. You know, and I love it because business is tiring.
Yeah.
You know, and I need to know that I can consistently run on empty for a long period of time, because when that business goes bad, and it's, you know, I'm fortunate enough to not have started a business and gone bankrupt, or, you know, I haven't been through 4 or 5 businesses. This might be the only business that creates my wealth, my success, and how fortunate may I be. However, if it's not, I need to know that I can hit the ground running again.
That's right.
You know, so, and that's sort of what I'm training my mind now is just being unbeatable.
I love it, man.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So, man, thank you so much. And before we finish, one of the things I wanted to ask you is, now that you made that change, because we talked about it during the whole interview. Now that you made this change in terms of your public image and you worked on your personal branding, how do you think this is gonna impact your goal for the year?
Oh, I like 100% the discipline, the non-negotiables.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I've been through some stuff over the last 2 years, especially. Like, once I started trying to change my life, it felt like the devil or something was against me at every turn. As soon as I said, "I'm going to be better," it was like, "No, you're not. I'm going to crush you."
Yeah.
You know, so I feel holding my non-negotiables even through those dark times over the last 2 years, and having those habits built and sticking to those habits, I like I said, I'm unstoppable. Now, my goals for the year are slightly delusional. Well, they're just out of reach of what's reachable. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like you want to say, "Oh, I want to turn over 7 figures," and you're already turning over, you know, 900,000.
6.5.
Yeah, you just got to get another 50,000, 100,000 this year. No, it's not like that. You know, my revenue I want to turn over, the amount of employees is a really high target. And the reason I say 8 figures, you know, for an annual turnover is not because I want to turn over 10 million or 9.99 million, is because I've now given myself a goalpost that's from 10 to 99 million. You know what I mean? So I'll never get, how can I fall short of 8 figures when 8 figures is so massive?
That's right.
You know, so I think for me, looking in the mirror and being proud of who I am, you know, and now I look in the mirror, instead of saying, you know, you're an idiot, for better words, you know, I now look in the mirror and go, "You're an animal," you know, and you know, yes, we'll change some things still, but man, I'm stoked. Like,
a gentleman animal.
A gentleman animal. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's about having the storm there, you know, but never unleashing it. And the biggest thing for me is, the biggest mindset change is living a life of service, you know? God created man to serve. And I truly believe that. You know, I serve my wife, I serve my son, I serve my business, my employees, and that's how I want to keep going this year. I'm here to do whatever's needed for everyone else. And, you know, by way of doing that,
it's a mission.
So
it's a mission. It's something bigger. Like, again, it's not about, you know, whatever the business does. It's whatever you want to do in the world.
No, and with this change, I just had this conversation with a 20-year-old business owner that just started. And he says he doesn't have time to work out. And I said, well, that was me. I said, now I run 4 businesses, you know, and I work out like a maniac. And I've got a beautiful family with the best relationship I could ever. Like, it's my biggest flex as a man, the relationship I have with my family. So what's your excuse? You're 20 years old, single, and you say you don't have time. And he goes, "Oh, working out doesn't make me money." I was like, actually, it's quite the opposite, because it's not that you got to go to lift weights, heavy weights. It's like doing anything that's uncomfortable, running, cycling, whatever it may be, but committing and having that non-negotiable is going to create a mindset in you in business, you know, and then you're going to take non-negotiables into your business. So when I changed, my business scaled. And when it got hard at the start of last year, and I had to make some immediate action decisions that weren't that great, we're now the strongest we've ever been because of 12 months ago when I did it. And the only reason I got through last year was because I changed. If I was drinking every night and doing what I was doing 2 years ago, the business wouldn't be where it is My family wouldn't be where they are. The relationships I've got with my employees and that wouldn't be where they are because I wasn't living up to the expectation that's required by me. So it is essential for me to hit my goal that I remain this person, 100%. And that's how I see it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we'll hit it.
Man, thank you so much for the time. And before I close, how was it your experience working with me? Because obviously
fantastic.
It was very unique. Or was it what you were expecting?
No, definitely. Look, I wasn't expecting to come here. If I was going to get a suit, I was going to come here, but I was never my thought wasn't on suits.
Okay.
You know what I mean? My thought was on business and exercise. And then my wife remembered that I mentioned that I met you, and we didn't really interact, but at one of those events that I went to, you were there and you had your suits, and I liked how you presented yourself and how you acted around everyone. And this is what I mean. I might be a hood rat or whatever in my past, but I want to be a gentleman, and I want to move more into that and act like that. And you are a gentleman straight away. And so by seeing that and the suits and that and how you interacted with everyone, that's what drew me to not go to anyone else, not even have a thought of anyone else, but come here. Because I had mentioned it to my wife, she's the one that booked it and surprised me with it, And I was like, I didn't even think he knew. And she's like, you said he was good. I was like, I don't know if he's good, but he's the suits look good and he's a gentleman. So, no, the experience was fantastic. And again, you put the suit on and it changes my persona. It changes who I want to be. You know what I mean? I know maybe a bit of energy here, but I want to be a bit more charismatic when I'm wearing this suit. You
really are.
And then, it's been a great experience, and I'm an absolute stoked to get this second piece. I'm so
here's
happy.
to more.
Here's to more, but I need one every day. I know people in the business will start mocking me for wearing suits every day, but
people, you'll be remembered.
Well, that's it. It's not really a suit industry, You'll be
remembered.
Slacks and that, but
within business, sometimes being remembered, it trumps whatever people think.
Yeah, how you dress and dressing nicely, you're going to command a room. When you walk in, they can just sense it. And how you're shaped as well, 100%. I met a guy at this entrepreneur event, very tall guy, slim, not muscular or anything, but he just dresses like a boss. Very nice stuff he was.
And it worked.
And he was just such a gentleman. And that was the way you made me feel talking to you. I want someone to feel that from me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to how do I generate
How do I do that?
More suits.
No, man, thank you so much. I'm glad that we got to uncover a little bit of that, that part of you to show everyone why Fidato is where it is today. And I honestly can't wait to see you achieving. And this is in general a great experience for me because, we met now, but honestly, by working together, making these two suits together, I feel that it just connected us, and now I gain a friend, and
100%.
you can do the same. Call me, message me, and the interaction is a lot more about what are your goals, what are your things, how can I bring value to you. And it's never going to be, hey, get the next suit. It's
and that's 100% how I felt, is you're not another number.
Yeah.
I'm here to dress you, make you feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
And that's how it felt immediately. The way you greet us, even if I'm waiting at the front, you're very conscious of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, So, you feel it immediately, the genuineness of yourself.
Yeah.
Rather than just, if you go to another suit place, potentially just another number.
Yeah.
Or they're just working there. They're not the founder of the place.
I just think that is very important to be grateful and understanding that people such as yourself are taking me on the journey and on this journey that I'm chipping away, I'm growing and growing.
Yeah.
And it's important. If without you, I wouldn't be another step forward. So thank you.
Yeah, no, I
appreciate it.
I'll be coming back, or at least my wife will be surprising me. Every Christmas there'll be another two suits.
Again, thank you, my man. All the best, and I can't wait to see you again